Hi everyone, Chris and Tara of the Marriage Revolution, and today you're going to be able to take steps, specific steps, and you'll take them off this video and be able to implement them into your marriage immediately.
Yeah, so we get questions submitted by our clients and by people just like you that follow us on social media who have questions about their marriage. So this one that we're going to talk about today is, my wife and I have grown apart. What should we do? So this is a very common question, and we see this a lot. If couples aren't growing together, they're growing apart. And that's very easy to do, especially when you get with the wife is raising the kids, and there's careers, and there's working, and there's life, and just life gets busy. So if we're not growing together, most likely we're going to be growing apart.
That's right.
So go ahead and
Yeah,
start
so
with step number one.
there's 3 steps, and the first step is the ability to have open and honest conversations. Actually talk about things. And I know that may seem foreign when life is so busy with soccer games or whatever, but it's being deliberate, being having the mindset and the self-awareness, the ability to say, you know what, let's talk about this without all the angst, without all the anger, without all the hurt feelings and all those things that lead to conflict.
Yes. So we have some friends of ours who've been married, I think about 13, maybe 15 years. And they just recently found out, when things kind of started to get a little turbulent in their relationship, that they had been doing something together as a hobby for years and realized after all this time, finally, she said to him, well, I've been doing this all these years because I thought you liked this and you wanted to do it. And he was like, what? I've been doing all this for all these years because I thought you liked it. So all of these years, because they did not have that open, honest conversations with each other, they assumed that the other person wanted it. And you just kind of wonder, you know, how many things in relationships and in our relationship had I assumed that you liked and didn't like because we weren't able to have open conversations about it.
That's right. And you know, if you have a mate or a spouse that does not want to have these open, honest conversations, they always lead to arguments. Our step number 2 is going to help with that. So let me get right to that. The second step is the ability to understand how I'm wired and how Tara's wired, and for you and your spouse. And we use the DISC model of human behavior. And let's just be straight up. We're going to always have this as one of our solutions to our questions because it's so core.
Yes.
It's vital to the ability to have an open conversation, the ability to understand one another, the ability to reduce conflict and reduce stress. And outside of the Bible, it is the second most important thing that you can actually do in a relationship is the ability to take a personality test. And we use the DISC one because it's simple and it's easy. And it helps me understand myself and helps me understand Tara.
Yes, it is so pivotal. It is the core to everything we teach at the Marriage Revolution. Because without understanding, you'll have misunderstanding.
Yes.
And when there's misunderstanding, that opens the door to hurt feelings and arguments that can escalate. So this is why it's foundational in everything we teach is that all of our couples go through the DISC personality profile assessment to be able to understand, because I am a high C, a high S, Chris is a high D, a high I, and so there's only 4. There's only 4. I'm 2 of them, and he's the other 2. So you can see how opposites can, attract, but then we can attack each other because we are so different.
Yeah.
So then step number 3 is to find common ground.
Yeah, after you take this profile, you're going to understand some things, your differences and your similarities. Now, it's the differences that help make us grow apart. If we don't understand them, we can't relate to them. But when you can take the test and then understand each other and yourself and your mate, then you're going to be able to grow together because you're going to understand them. But the third part is now to focus on our similarities. Like when we take the test, you're going to have the ability to see for yourself, black and white, some of your things that you are most alike and your similarities, you're going to be able to form a common ground. And that is really what you want to focus on those things where, okay, we know that we're growing apart. Well, let's first go back to our similarities and the reason why you married the other person in the first place. You liked some things, and then the other person had some things you were different. So you were attracted to that. So that's why you're like head over heels over the person, because like, wow, there's some similarities. There's some things that we don't are different on. Gosh, this is like a match made in heaven. But after a while, those differences make us grow apart. So we want to come back to our common ground.
Yeah. And you know, one of the funny things is I always like this saying, it's super fun and exciting until it isn't.
That's right.
You know, his dynamic personality was amazing until we would go in public and he would embarrass me. and so I don't like to be embarrassed. And so, you know, it's just those funny things. And I think what I love so much about the disc as well is that finding that common ground is that once now you have a conversation point, starter, and those personality differences now have names. And so we've seen couples who have been like just so at each other and just like, I'm not talking to you, and there's a lot of anger, you know, set in, that once they learn this and they can find that common ground, they actually can laugh out loud at each other.
Yeah.
They actually can just start to call it out, and it's funny now, and it's fun, and it's exciting, and it almost takes you back almost to those days when you were dating at the beginning and really discovering each other's quirky personalities. And you're like, wow, this is pretty cool. This is actually fun again.
You know, one of the comments we get from our clients is that the biggest comment is that, wow, you know what? There's nothing wrong with me. Because the DISC personality profile helps you understand about yourself and then about obviously your mates. But then you're like, hey, wow, so there's nothing wrong with me. This is how I'm wired. It's okay. And there's no problems with it. And so when you understand that about yourself, boy, it just takes down the angst and the level of anger and conflict. And actually you start to grow together because you now respect and honor your differences. You understand yourself. And boy, it just lowers that whole level of conflict.
For sure. So make sure to like and subscribe on the buttons below. And also, if you want more information, then go to themarriagerevolution.com, where you can find out about everything we have to offer. We'd love to help, and we're here for you guys.
All right. Talk to you soon.